Britain's empire may have been shrinking, but its military footprint stretched farther than ever. From jungles to deserts, from islands to frozen seas, each new war asked the same question: what does it mean to remain a global power when the world no longer wants to be ruled? 6. The Indonesian Confrontation, 1963 to 1966. In the steaming jungles of Borneo, British and Commonwealth troops clashed with Indonesian forces. It wasn't called a war, just a confrontation. But for the soldiers on the ground, it was deadly real. Ambushes, stealth raids, and tense patrols along the border defined this little-known conflict. Britain fought quietly alongside Malaysian forces to stop Indonesia's expansion. By 1966, the confrontation ended, barely noticed in the headlines, but crucial in shaping Southeast Asia's future. 7. The Suez Crisis, 1956. It began with one man, Egypt's President Gamal Abdel Nasser, nationalizing the Suez Canal. Britain, France, and Israel conspired to take it back by force. The world watched as British paratroopers descended upon Port Said. But in a shocking twist, international pressure, especially from the United States, forced Britain to withdraw. It was a diplomatic disaster. Suez marked the moment the world realized the empire's age was over. Britain was no longer the world's policeman. It was now a partner in a new, divided order. 8. The Falklands War, 1982. In 1982, the world was stunned when Argentine forces invaded the remote Falkland Islands. Few had heard of them before, yet within days Britain launched one of the most daring naval operations in modern history. For 10 weeks, war raged across the South Atlantic. Young soldiers faced brutal cold, long marches, and relentless air attacks. When Britain retook the islands, it rekindled a fading sense of pride. But behind the victory lay the question: how long could Britain keep fighting wars so far from home? 9. The Troubles, 1969 to 1998. This wasn't an overseas war. It was one fought within Britain's own borders. Northern Ireland descended into decades of unrest between communities divided by history, faith, and politics. British soldiers patrolled streets where danger could come from any corner. For nearly 30 years, the violence ebbed and flowed. Bombings, protests, and uneasy truces. When peace finally came, the scars remained. The Troubles became a mirror, reflecting not just conflict, but the struggle to reconcile identity with unity. 10. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953. Long before the Cold War turned truly cold, Britain sent tens of thousands of troops to Korea. They fought alongside the United States and United Nations forces to repel North Korean and Chinese armies. It was a brutal, freezing, and often overlooked war. The Battle of the Imjin River became legend, where outnumbered British troops held their ground against overwhelming odds. Korea was not about empire or colonies. It was about alliance, ideology, and a new world divided between East and West. By now, you might be wondering, why are so many of these wars forgotten? Perhaps because they didn't fit the old heroic narrative. No great victories carved into stone, no clear lines between good and evil. Only the complicated truth of a nation adapting to a world that no longer revolved around it. But the next 5 wars show something else: that even after empire, Britain's soldiers continued to fight, sometimes for peace, sometimes for politics, always for something larger than themselves. Stay with me.